Hi everyone, so I wanted to do this video today to help anybody that has been through what I've been through over the past 6 months. I got corona, I realised I had corona on the 25th of March. It is currently the 20, let's have a look. It's currently the 30th of September, so that's roughly 6 months since I had corona. And to say that it's been the worst 6 months of my life is not an understatement in terms of health and just overall being a human. It's been awful. And there's been pretty much no information, especially I'm gonna say I was probably one of the first people to contract corona, so there's no one really before us who got it back then. So the experience that I've had has been very scary, unnerving, and just a weird place to be in with no information. So I wanted to do this video so if anyone's going through corona, they can hopefully find this and feel comforted or get some answers in some way, because I'm a lot further down the line. The term long COVID long hauler has only just really come to light, and it's something that I've been experiencing for 6 months, which I thought I was going through alone. So I'm gonna try not to cry in this video, but I probably will. I'm just warning you. If you want to see my corona journey, I created a video when I had corona for IGTV. I just switched on my camera when things got rough, not at the roughest, but when I realized I had corona, there was a time where I just switched on my camera. It was right next to my bed, and I just thought that people needed to see it because I was so shocked how bad it was for me. I had probably a very severe case for my age. I'm 32, no underlying health issues. It's all the information in that video, so I'll leave that link to record here because we don't want to relive that. But I'd say for my age group, it was quite bizarre that I had it so badly. So moving on from corona, I recovered, I got myself back together, and then I had about 2 weeks later, I was ill again. I had what I thought was a chest infection. I tried to ring my doctor for antibiotics, couldn't get through to 111, so I just laid on my couch for a week really suffering again, considering I just got over corona. I have to say as well, when I did have corona, it was a very difficult place to call for an ambulance to ask for help. The time that I got it was the day that Boris Johnson announced lockdown. The 23rd of March, I started to feel really unwell. On the 25th of March, I realized I had corona. And at this time, you were treated like you couldn't, and I think it's really hard to remember this now because it was such a different time back then. But at this time, I felt like I couldn't ring an ambulance because I'd read so many news articles, I'd seen on so many news programs that they were not coming into people's houses. I couldn't figure out a way to get to the hospital. I couldn't call a taxi. I couldn't walk there. So I felt so isolated in my own home. As much as my doctor was like on hand over a phone, I don't think they knew what to do with me. My sister, who's a doctor, she would have been lost without her, but nobody seemed to know what to do. And for me going through that, I was just on a program of I'm going to stay where I am and I'm going to get through this, because I don't know if you've been through it too at that stage. I don't know, I just felt really quite it was scary to be on the end of it when no one knew what to do with us. It was before the Nightingale Hospital was even built, and yeah, it was just a very strange time. So looking back now, I 100% should have been in hospital, and I fought it from my own bed in my own house by myself. It was a very scary place, and I think half of the problem when I'm trying to voice what I've been through now, when I've been dealing with doctors and stuff, it's hard to explain what I went through alone in my house because no one saw it. So back to the process. 2 weeks later, I was ill again. I couldn't get hold of the doctor, I couldn't get hold of 111, and I couldn't walk down to the hospital because I didn't have the energy, couldn't get in a taxi because I didn't want to give corona to anyone. So I just fought it from my own home again. 2 weeks after, I felt very, very good. I felt really good. I felt back to normal. I still was really fatigued, but nothing that worried me. About another 2 to 3 weeks after that, I felt awful again. Sheer exhaustion, which came in with like this real severe arm pain. And this severe arm pain really worried me because a few years ago I had an infection in one of my veins. Things started to come out that COVID was linked with blood clots, etc, etc. So I got hold of my doctors this time, even though the fatigue, the sheer exhaustion, the ill was something I'd experienced 2 weeks earlier. The arm pain really, really worried me. So I kept trying my doctors until I honestly, when I say I tried calling the doctors, I have to call, like, at this time I had to call like 3 days straight, because I presume anybody that had a mild cold was ringing the doctors because they were worried. And whenever you get through to the receptionist, honestly, the ones that I've dealt with at my doctors have been so rude. As soon as you mention corona, they go into like a script, please call 111, and it's like, no, I've had corona. I need to sort this out. Anyway, I managed to get through my doctors. She sent me to A&E, to the corona ward, and they researched into what was going on with me, and the doctors in there said, you're not the only person fit and young that's come back, and it's usually the young ones that had it severely that are coming back with these relapses. And that was the first I'd heard of it. No one's ever mentioned this before, and I was like, oh, okay, so this is like normal, that people who got it badly, who didn't die, are suffering still. That was like 6 weeks later that this finally dawned on me that something was going on here. I had loads of tests done. The only thing I had, actually I'll tell you what I had done because it might be useful to some of you that are really into it as if it's like a choice. I had an ECG, came back fine. I had an X-ray, it came back fine, although I think to show up pneumonia or a chest infection, sorry, the road's really busy outside. I think to show up these things, I believe you have to have it nearer the time of when you're infected. I had blood tests done. I'm not sure what the blood tests were for, but they definitely tested a D-dimer there because they wanted to test the blood clotting. So a D-dimer was taken there, which came back fine. I'm saying this because it highlights something that happens later. And the only thing that happened was when I walked with an oxygen monitor, it dropped. But still to this day, I'm convinced that that might have been because it wasn't put on properly, because it's never happened since. They took my oxygen levels in my blood, which honestly is the most painful needle I've ever had in my whole entire life. Hands up if you've ever had oxygen taken from your wrists. Whoa. And it's not one of the normal needles. Like, I know people get blood tests taken from their wrist, but it's like honestly a thick giant knitting needle. That's a slight exaggeration, but it's huge, it hurts. And my blood oxygen levels were fine, so I got discharged, I got sent home, and I just rested again for 2 weeks until I felt better again, and I felt good. I was exercising a little bit, not knowing that that was bad, so don't exercise. So I had this week where I was really exercising. I thought I was back on form, and then I went down and down and down, which was my biggest relapse. So this was in July. I had an almighty relapse, what I call a relapse. It started off with, like, I call them bad lung days. I was like gasping, so I get this, I have to like, and it's as if I have to really stretch the last bit of my lungs. I call it my broccoli. I have sore broccoli. You know when you're at school and you do biology and you have these, I think it's called alveoli. I'm really bad at this. But you know the ends of like your lungs, and they've got like these things that look like broccoli. And I always joke when I'm in a lot of pain when I go into the hospital, I was like, my broccoli is sore. So it's as if that last bit is hurting, so I gasp a lot. So when I say I'm having a bad lung day, that's generally what I mean by that. So the bad lung days started, I just felt really fatigued, and then a week later I felt awful. It was like I was like drunk, and like the sheer exhaustion, I could not do anything. Like I was just really struggling with life, and I was having these gasping for air. I just felt really, really unwell, more unwell than any of my relapses before, and it just kept going down and down and down until one day, I think this was about June 7th, July, where are we in now? I think it was July. No, it was June. It was June 17th, I think, around about that date. I'll put some video clips in here because I ended up in hospital. Guys, I'm doing okay. I just felt so poorly this morning. Yeah, I went down real quick, but I'm okay. I've been better. The arm pain in my shoulder came back and I just felt really faint. So, yeah, they're doing loads of tests on me and my D-dimer came back high. I don't know what that means. I'm not entirely sure, but I know so many of you are asking me questions, so go Google. I don't know. It's something to do with the blood clotting, and they've just done a CT scan on me. I've had better days. I was feeling really unwell to the point where I just sat on the couch and I was like, I feel like I'm going to pass out, something's happening. And I got the very same sensation that happened to me when I had corona. So if you go back and watch my video on corona, I had the virus for like a week. I had coughs, I had the shortness of breath, it was all very viral. I had headache, it was like a virus. And then so I caught corona on the Wednesday, the 25th. By the Sunday, I felt good. My voice had come back and I felt healthy again. Like, I thought I was going to be better in a few days' time. And then the Monday I went down so quick. It changed so quickly. I have never, honestly, that Monday, I thought I was going to die. I've never felt so ill in all my life. And when I say this to doctors, they're like, why were you not in hospital? Why did it? Oh, it couldn't have been that bad. And I'm like, I felt like I was going to die, and I felt like I didn't know what to do. I didn't know where to turn for help, and I fought it alone by myself. That morning, something came over me like a sensation. I've had loads of terminology thrown about me, so basically nobody really knows what's happening. And it was as if just something came over me. My knees went, I started shaking, I started convulsing. Like, it was the weirdest thing. I went out of a hot shower, which helped the previous week, into just feeling absolutely freezing. And this same sensation happened throughout the next 2 weeks, getting weaker and weaker, to the point where I learned when it was coming on, because my knees gave way first. And like, after about a week after corona, I was very used to these little like fits happening. I would just be lying in bed and my chest would be like convulsing, my body would go into like shakes, and it's almost the same reaction as like adrenaline rush, but it wasn't something that I was controlling. It was as if my immune system was if my immune system was acting like a hard drive, it was going zzzz. That's how I felt experiencing this. And I've had loads of terminology thrown around me, like cytokine storms, something like that, but then you talk to another doctor and they laugh at you when you try and explain what other doctors have said. I'm not joking. I had a doctor laugh at me the other day when I was trying to explain how bad my case was. I'll come to that in a minute, but honestly, I was not happy about it. My face was like pan dead when he was chuckling. I was like, not funny. So this Monday in June, I had this similar sensation come over me again, and I was like, this ain't happening again. So before it got to the point where I couldn't walk, I headed to the hospital, because it's just next door to my house. It's like a 2-minute walk, and honestly, this walk was like the Champions of Fire. Like, I thought that I was gonna die again, and I'm not a panicky person. I don't have panic attacks. My leg could be hanging off and I'd be like, I don't need to go to the hospital. In fact, I've chopped my toe off before and it took me 2 days to go to the hospital to get it glued back on. I'm not the type of person that's a hypochondriac to worry about stuff. I'm actually the opposite. Like, it takes a long time for me to be like, okay, I probably should get this seen to. And I feel like there's a lot of people that are worried about catching corona, and the doctors have probably seen so many people that, in fact, I've seen them in the corona ward that are like blatantly not ill and just worried about it. So it takes a lot for me to take myself to the hospital. I walked to the hospital knowing what was coming, because by this time, 3 months later, it was more acceptable to, like, they knew how to handle us. So I knew if I walked into the hospital, because I'd been before, I knew what to do and where to go, and I don't know, it just was a very different situation 3 months down the line. So I started having this sensation again. I managed to get to the hospital, and I was so sick in A&E, and like I handed in my name, and I literally couldn't even see the person in front of me. I could not see the person. He's asking me to write my name on this paper, and I was like, honestly, I was on my back on the floor of A&E. Sorry, my battery died. So I got taken through to like the nurse straight away because of how bad I was. Like I queue jumped. They like took me through. And she's like, are you panicking? Are you depressed? Are you anxious? And I'm like, no. Like I'm really wish, and I know so many of you have had the same things asked to you when people with corona don't ask them that, because yes, it's a scary situation, but the thing that your body is hit with isn't onset from anxiety or panicking. It's like something's happening and then my body hits with adrenaline. That's how I'd explain it anyway. It's not caused by the panicking. The shaking and the fit that I experience is not caused by panicking. Even though it's a scary situation, it's caused by something that's going on inside my body. Like something happens, then my body's reaction is to like shake. Like when I have a needle, when something sore happens, my body will shake because it's painful. So something's happening inside my body and I go into these shakes, and there's nothing more. It's really not scary to be on the other side of, but when you're going through these things that nobody knows and you've got doctors in front of you, and I don't blame, like they're doing everything in their power to help you. It's just unfortunate that nobody knows. But to be like, are you having an anxiety attack? Are you panicking? And it's like, no, I'm not. I don't know what's happening. And like people saying this just makes me think even more that you don't know what's happening either, and that makes it more scary. So I ended up back in the corona ward again, and this time they did even more tests, and this time my D-dimer came back high, which is blood thickening. It's linked to blood clotting. So if your D-dimer is high, it indicates that your blood possibly has mini blood clots in or something. My technical terms aren't very good, so don't quote me on this. I'm just trying to maybe paint a picture of what I've been through. But everything else came back fine. I had a CT scan, I had another ECG, everything came back fine apart from the D-dimer. And they said, although it's linked to post-COVID patients having this thicker blood, that they're not worried. And I got discharged. I was in all day, having tests all day. I felt horrendous in the morning. By the evening, I felt stable. And at about 2 a.m. in the morning, I got discharged. And I think I walked home from the hospital by myself after a full day of being tested. Like, I literally, like, it's a blank for me from when I went into A&E to being on a bed in the corona ward in a room. And like, I don't know, just when I was walking home that night, I was just like, and I came home to my neighbours having a house party, and this was in lockdown, and I was just like, I don't know, I just was like, it's gonna get me really sad. Like, I don't think that people understand how like hard it is, like going through post-COVID, and like the sheer like ignorance of someone throwing a house party. I was just like, if you could see like what I've just been through over the past 12 hours, like even 3 months after corona, like it just gets me really frustrated. And like, I don't know, I told you I'd cry. Okay, so I spent about 2 weeks getting better. I did get better. Like the fatigue, I had sheer fatigue, which took me to about August. August for me was a really weird month. Like, although I had no relapse or no like definite slumps, it was just probably one of the hardest months in terms of the exhaustion was just underlying, and it was every single day. Like, if I refer to my previous life, you know those days in my previous life where you feel rubbish, you can't be bothered going out because you just feel like crap. Maybe you've got a cold coming on and you just feel rough. Maybe like a hangover I could like compare it to. I felt like that solidly for the whole month of August, and I remember going home to see my parents, and I was just like, I just stayed every day in the garden, like on a lounger, and I was just like, I can't do any work. I can't physically even have the energy to hang out with people. Like, I don't understand what's going on, but this isn't getting better. So I forgot to say back before I ended up in A&E for the second time, the one that I just talked about, before it got so bad, I'd managed to get a doctor's appointment, and they'd done loads of blood tests for me. So I was in with the doctors then. They referred me to a specialist. The doctors referred me to a specialist in the beginning of June. I only had that specialist appointment Monday. So it's taken me, when I first got corona, no one referred me to a specialist. When I went into the hospital, no one referred to me to see a specialist. The doctors in June referred me to a specialist, and in June, when I went into A&E, how bad I was not offered any support or help or anything afterwards. I feel like I really want us to reach out. Although there's so much support from the doctors when you go to these places, like they're doing everything, but the whole system post-COVID is awful. There is no system. They do not know what to do with us. There must be thousands of people feeling like I have, and I have had no help. And it's so important that I think I should have seen someone as soon as it was noted that I had a severe COVID case, for support mentally, because it's been absolutely, I'll get into that a little bit further, but mentally it's been as hard as it is physically. So on Monday I finally got a specialist doctor's appointment, and prior to this appointment he had arranged for me to go to a lung function test so he could discuss the results at the appointment. So I have this video call with the doctor, and I made the silly mistake of presuming that he knew my case when I spoke to him. I thought he would have my notes. Turns out that the specialist that I had an appointment with was a different hospital to the Chelsea one that I'd been going to. So he didn't have any of my information from the Chelsea hospital. So I probably didn't explain it very, very well, but I don't know, I really got the impression that he didn't, not that he wasn't taking me seriously, he was a very professional doctor, but he did laugh in my face. I was trying to explain what I'd been through, and he laughed at me and said, if you'd have been this bad, you would have been in hospital. And I hadn't explained to him then that I had been in hospital. I'd been in and out of hospital all summer. I just hadn't gone at the time because I felt like I couldn't. I don't know, it was really weird. Like, I'd never been treated like that, and like my face was deadpan when he had a chuckle. I was like, I just thought it was really bizarre. Anyway, the more he talked and the more I explained, the more he came round to it, but I didn't think I had to do that. That was a very strange experience for me. So there was an issue with my lung function test, so it's taken me 6 months for them to, as soon as I saw the specialist, they found out the issue straight away. So as much as he chuckled, we found it out, so I forgive him. It took 6 months for me to get a specialist appointment, and they found the issue straight away. So it's taken me 6 months for them to do that. I've been struggling for 6 months for them to find that out. Like, that could have been figured out a month after corona. Like, it shouldn't have taken this long, surely. But there is an issue in, my lungs actually are bigger than normal, like above average in the capacity that I can breathe in, because obviously I'm a long distance runner. I'm big on the cardio, so that might be explained why I have a big capacity of oxygen going into my lungs. But there is an issue on how it's getting into the bloodstream. He said he's not concerned because my oxygen stats are always 100, which is above average. So the oxygen in my body is not low, it's always above 100, but there's an issue with it getting into my bloodstream, which coincides with what I was saying about my broccoli sore. So that is where I am at. I went for a different CT scan today. I'm also getting heart echo to try and figure out what the issue is. But yeah, I wanted to do this video to help anyone struggling for answers, and maybe in the comments below you can all talk about your experience, because it's only started now that there's like support groups like long COVID haulers, but 6 months ago we were all on our own. Like, it was a very weird place, and I don't think anyone except my like parents and my sister really know the honest experience that I've been through, because they've seen me really struggling most days. And I think in September it's been the first month that I've really turned a corner. I still feel rubbish, like I feel really rubbish right now. I've had to give up exercising, which was one of my biggest loves in my whole entire life. Like, exercise for me, exercise for me was like, it helped me mentally, and it helped me in so many ways in my life. I did it every day. It was my passion. I enjoyed it. I've done it since I was a child, and I've had that taken away from me. I can't do that anymore, so it's really affected me mentally, because it was like what helped me mentally, if that makes sense. So talking about the mental side of post-COVID, this is gonna sound so stupid, and post-life me would be like, come on Laura, but I struggle from, so recently I had really bad toothache, like really bad, and it was just getting worse for about a month. So I had this toothache from June to the end of August, and it was just getting worse and worse and worse. Like, all my gums were inflamed around here. I couldn't really brush my teeth properly on this side, it got so bad. So I went to the dentist, and she just took one look at me and she was like, are you worried about anything? Are you stressed? And I was like, well, it's not been a fun past few months. She was like, you're clamping down so hard in the night that it's creating this pain. There's nothing wrong with your teeth, it's just from sheer clamping. So at night, I think it's something to do with being in the room that I was in. When I close my eyes at night, I just think about maybe what I went through. And when you go through something like that, when you go through it, you don't realize what's happening to yourself. You just go into like fight or flight mode. It's almost like an out of body experience, and you don't really feel emotion when you go through something. When I had corona, 2 weeks later, I cried, and I knew I was better because I cried, because for the whole time I hadn't really shown any emotion. So now when I look back on it, I find thinking about it really traumatic. So at night I lie there, and it just, I don't know, I don't want to call it flashbacks, I don't want to call it like anything, I don't know, because it sounds so dramatic, but I would say I'm experiencing some sort of post-traumatic stress at night when I'm trying to sleep, because I have such bad insomnia. It's ironic that it's like sheer exhaustion, then I go to bed at night and I have like flashbacks and insomnia. So these flashbacks are making me clamp down in the night, and I had neck pain as well, so I presume it's all linked. So the mental side from it for me has been, I don't know, I'm quite a tough person, and when anything bad happens I don't let it really affect me, but I feel like there's something linked to the brain and corona that really affects it mentally. So it's not like post-traumatic stress in a normal sense. Like, I feel like, for instance, I bought a sandwich, no, I didn't buy it, I picked up a sandwich like normal, like I do every day in Sainsbury's, and I went to go out without paying for it. Like, there's something going on with the brain and corona. Like, brain fog is a real thing, and like I really struggle for words sometimes, and I didn't think anything of it. I just presumed it was like sheer exhaustion until it started coming out. It was like a thing, but yeah, I think there's something going on there with like, yeah, I really struggle mentally with it. I feel like it will really help when I get out of this flat. So I'm moving. I feel like it will really help when I move, and just a new chapter to forget about it, because as much as I rationalize it and I move on from it, whenever I think about it, I get like these, I don't know, can't explain it. But if you have it too, I'm going through it too. And the last thing I really wanted to talk about was the taste. And I've had every single symptom so severely that it's quite amusing. Like, I got every single symptom except my hair didn't fall out. Luckily I haven't had that, touch wood. But the taste for me, I didn't really notice it when I had corona. I don't know whether that was because I was just so ill that I wasn't really enjoying food anyway. And like, the tasting I really noticed after the second kind of, what I call a relapse, the one when I ended up in A&E for the second time. And the taste in August, maybe it coincided with how how ill I felt in August, because August was just like a really underlying unwellness, like more than the other months. My taste was awful, like to the point where I was eating stuff and it was just like mushy cardboard. And it really hasn't come back. It's getting worse. So I don't know what to do about that, because through all this time I've really tried to keep the weight on, because whenever I'm ill I lose a lot of weight quite quickly. So I've really tried to eat, and I literally could be sitting there eating a pizza and I'm like, this is disgusting. So I'll keep you updated on that one, because I'm not too sure when it's going to come back. But yeah, oh god, I've just spilled tea all over the floor. But yeah, I know it's been a bit rambling and I've tried to explain what I've been through as best as I could, but yeah, that is my post-corona experience. It's been awful, and I don't think people really understand what goes on behind closed doors, because I do my YouTube videos and I spent 2 weeks in bed recovering from it, and the doctor was like, what do you do for a living? I was like, I'm a YouTuber. He was like, so can you have time off? And I was like, well, I don't. I was like, I can't pay my rent if I don't work. And yeah, so just know when I make these videos, they're made with a lot of strength, because honestly I know it looks like I'm well, and it looks like I've got a shit ton of makeup on and I'm smiling and I've got clothes on and my hair's done, and the reality is I film all those videos in one day and then I spend the next 2 weeks in bed recovering, because it just absolutely whacks me out. And I've had to keep it going. Not had to, I presume I could have, like, I don't know, moved back in with my parents, but I have rent to pay here, and I don't know, I've really tried to keep it up. But honestly, if you knew the strength that it took to keep this channel going, to keep what I've worked so many years going, like, I know if I took my foot off the pedal on YouTube and Instagram, they'd slowly fade away. So you can't take your foot off the pedal when it comes to these things. So I've desperately tried to keep it alive and to keep it as entertaining as I can, and to bring you these videos. But honestly, if you could see the other side of it, it's been like the I don't know if it's epiphany of a highlight reel or epitome. I'm gonna go with epitome. My Instagram and my YouTube has been the epitome, I hope that's right, of a highlight reel, because my reality has been a whole lot different. Maybe I'll do some like outtakes of some stories that I've captured, of photos or videos that I've sent my mum and my family and stuff, so you can maybe get an insight, some voice notes that I have to my friends, just so you can have a little insight into what it's been like. I stopped taking footage of it because I thought after that video hit like 1.25 million or something like that, there was a lot of people. Like, I did it to raise awareness because I was shocked. I didn't realise what was coming. I was so shocked that I got it so bad, and I didn't want anyone to be as shocked as I was. And then to be so ill and you get the trolling, it wasn't good. Like, I had to mute everything. But equally, I got so much love, and I honestly cannot thank you enough for that. Like, in the darkest hours of my life, like, you guys were there supporting me, and like, makes me so sad. I told you I'd cry. Like, honestly, the darkest hours of my life, you guys were there. Like, the whole world was there, sending me that love from all over the world. And I feel like I was in a very lucky position where I had that strength behind me to get me through it. Like, honestly, really did help get me through. Like, I had people from all over the world trying to get paracetamol to me. Sorry. I had people from all over the world trying to get me stuff, like make sure I was okay, get paracetamol to me. And yeah, honestly, I had such strength behind me, and I sometimes wonder if I didn't have that, if I'd have been able to fight it as much, because it gives you so much strength when you have that much support. And I feel very lucky that I have this support system, because I know a lot of people didn't, and it made me feel less lonely and less scared in a very vulnerable place. So thank you. And even continuously, like, the support that I've had through this has been incredible. You still get that odd wanker that blames it on 5G or something and says it's a hoax, but the majority have been amazing. And I just think from the lack of support the government has given in terms of post-COVID patients, you guys have made up for it. So yeah, thank you. And hopefully if any of you guys have been through it that are watching this, you can find support in the comments below. And yeah, hopefully I have turned a corner and they can find out what's wrong or what damage it's done, and I'll keep you updated. I'll probably keep you updated in like my vlogs or the ends of my like fashion videos, just so you kept in the loop and stuff. But my stories is a good place, they talk about it a lot on there. But yeah, just wanted to do this video to show the awareness of how bad it's been for me. And probably a lot of you that are watching this. I ruined my mascara. Oh no, that's good. Marc Jacobs. It's not even waterproof, so that's good. So yeah, I'm gonna love you and leave you, and I will be back with another not corona video, hopefully never again. Fingers crossed. Stay safe guys, and I love you all, and we will get through this. We'll look back at 2020 and just think, God, what a year. And this time next year it will hopefully be, I presume, like, come on, it's got to have been in the past or some kind of new normal where we've all learned to like make the most of this. So moving forward, I feel like I'm just gonna make the most out of a very bad situation. Okay, I've spilled tea everywhere. Right, I'm gonna go because this has probably been an hour long. Bye bye. I've got no like fresh fruit or veg, which I probably need to get me over whatever I've got, which is why I wanted to go to Tesco. But I'm not gonna die, so I have got food. I've got spaghetti and I've got pasta. That's it. So worst case scenario, I don't think I'll die. Just might take me a little longer to get over it. I don't know why every time I press record I start coughing. I haven't actually been coughing at all today. I actually feel absolutely fine in myself. I don't feel ill in the slightest. I sound horrendous, but I reckon I could run, like, I could go on the treadmill and be absolutely fine right now. Very, very strange, but it sounds so much worse than it is. I think see, I wasn't coughing. Okay, I think I'm gonna have to stop talking, but I think it's laryngitis, which directly affects the voice box and not much else. So like, I've got none of the symptoms of corona. Like, I don't have a headache, I don't have a fever, I don't feel achy or tired. I can taste, I can smell. All the things that are like very coronary, I don't have. I just have lost my voice. I haven't even got a sore throat. It's just squeaky. Good afternoon. I feel like my voice is sounding better, right? I feel like it's better. I had a really rough night. Like, not rough. I couldn't get to sleep because I was coughing. I got to bed about 1:30, I reckon. Then I had 12 hours. And I woke up feeling horrific. Coughed my guts up. And then I felt fine. I feel good. So hopefully I might get my voice back tomorrow. I woke up, but my voice sounded better today.
Um, but I'm currently lying on my bed with my eyes shut because I feel rubbish. I feel hot and cold. I feel got a headache coming on for the first time. This is the first day. I haven't felt ill until today, I don't think. Like, although it sounded ill, I haven't felt it. I just feel ill today. I feel really sick as well. I Blades have corona, don't I? Or I could have just possibly given myself some food poisoning because of the shit I've been eating. I've been having spaghetti and baked beans. It's been a vile concoction.
Hello. It's pretty hard to get food poisoning from spaghetti and baked beans, so I don't think it'll be that. Um, have you got enough food in and stuff?
I can't remember where I last left you, but I've not been good. I went to a very low place today and back. I'm finding it difficult, not difficult to breathe, but it's definitely hard. Like, I can't finish a sentence. I had the worst headache ever. I had a few migraines before in my life. Like, I've ended up in hospital with a bad migraine before it got so bad. And I thought I was heading in that direction. Like, it was unbearable, but my mum's paracetamol arrived and I've never been so happy in my whole entire life. I got quite emotional. It arrived with a Milky Bar and some milk and I cried. But I really, really pray for any old person who gets this because they don't stand a chance. Like, I do cardio every day. I do 10k on a bicycle every single day. I've got strong lungs, man, and this is knocking me for dead. But I'm sure I'll be fine in a couple of days at least. But my headache's gone now, and I feel okay. I just need to not move, so I'm all good. I find it really hard to talk and stuff, so properly. And she was like, when you can't do stuff, and like when you can't like finish a sentence, and like find it really hard to talk and stuff. So even though now I can sense it a little bit, I feel like I'm okay. Basically, when I feel like I'm gonna die, I need to start to worry. But oh god, I feel so much better than I did this afternoon. My headache was the worst. I'm not gonna die. I promise you. If there's one person that can get through this, I will not let myself die from corona. I'm a trooper. I think by the weekend I will have got a lot better. Anyway, I just had maybe the weirdest 6 hours of my whole entire life. So I woke up this morning feeling okay. I had 14 hours sleep and I woke up straight into a FaceTime with my mum and my sister. And I was kind of just lying there, like I wasn't really saying anything or doing anything. I felt very strange, but I couldn't really put my finger on it. So I was just like, just not myself. And like every morning I'd felt better and better. So I was like, as I was lying there and they were just talking, I was like, I don't know if I feel better today. But anyway, we left the conversation and I was like, right, I'm going to get myself in a hot shower. I don't know why, I just thought that would make me feel better because it had done the previous times. It didn't, hot shower really didn't help me breathe very well. And then I started getting like, my sister has since called it a Riga fever, which is when your whole body goes into a vigorous shake. It started in my legs and my arms and like even my teeth were chattering. Like I could not, I was like having a fit. And then on top of this, I tried to FaceTime my sister. I couldn't get hold of her. So I had a mini panic attack. Well, I'm going to say not a mini, I had a panic attack on top of this all, on top of not being able to breathe. Managed to get hold of my sister and I was in such a state. Honestly, I thought I was going to pass out. I'd managed to get half an outfit on, ready to walk to Chelsea Hospital. Oh, I felt awful. It went down so quick, so fast. That's the weirdest thing about this whole thing. I can 1 minute feel fine and then the next minute I'm like, I deteriorate so quickly. It was so weird. So for about 4 hours, I just stayed on FaceTime with my sister, like just breathing calm and like trying to get the fever out. and trying to eat and trying to drink. And then I managed to get hold of my own doctor while she was on FaceTime to me, who gave me a choice of either trying antibiotics because my sister thinks it might have turned into pneumonia or a chest infection. So I needed to get antibiotics to see if it helped. Or I could be sent to a corona hub or get myself to a corona hub. So I'm currently on antibiotics. My downstairs neighbour has gone and got them for me, bless her. And the doctor's ringing me back tomorrow to see if my condition has got worse or improved, or what I'm doing to see if I need to go to a corona hub. What the fuck is a corona hub? But yeah, I just thought I'd update you in case I did die. I thought you'd want to know.